So you're telling me that you had another personality because of a piece of metal on your head?
Steel, actually, Blake. And yeah. And it wasn't hard getting that cyber technology off my face, I could tell you.
How did you get it off?
Well, I had to use a hammer and a chisel.
Did it hurt?
Like hell, Blake. Like hell. But on the upside, I did get to keep the Cyberman that he built.
Cybermat?
Yeah. And here he is. I call him Bitey.
Aw, that's quite cute.
Don't be fooled by his appearance, my dear.
Ah!
I don't call him Bitey for nothing.
So I see. By the way, how long have you been into robots and stuff?
Ever since I was a child, robots were one of the many things I grew up with. Robots from Star Wars, Power Rangers, Sonic the Hedgehog, Robot Wars, you name it. Robots were a part of my childhood. But during my teenhood, a show on Cartoon Network was a particular favourite of mine.
Oh?
Yep, and that show was called Robotboy.
Robotboy? Don't you mean Gadget Boy?
No, that was a crappy Inspector Gadget ripoff. This was made by French production company Alphanim and from France 3 and Cartoon Network Europe. Robotboy first aired in the UK on Cartoon Network in 2005 and ran for 4 seasons ending in 2008.
Oh yeah, I'm quite familiar with that show, but it's been a while since I've seen an episode.
Tell you what, why don't you stick around while I review the show and then see if you can pick up the small bits from there.
I'd like that very much.
Okie dokie, let's go.
The show follows the adventures of Robotboy, the latest creation of the world-renowned scientist Professor Mishimo, voiced by Togo Igawa. Due to fears that Robotboy would be stolen by his arch-enemy Dr. Kamikaze, voiced by the late E.G. Kusuhara, and his main henchman Constantine to be used to take over the world.
Professor Moshimo entrusts Robotboy to 10-year-old Tommy Turnbull, his biggest fan. While being protected by Tommy and his 2 friends Lola and Gus, or G-Man as he calls himself, Robotboy learns how to behave and act as if he were a real boy, while occasionally battling Dr. Kamikaze and Constantine, who sought out to capture him.
Wow, you caught on pretty quick.
Well, listening to you talk about the plot jogged my memory.
Cool.
This show was released during what most people claim to be the last of Cartoon Network's golden age. You know, the studio that made like 80% of the best cartoons during the 90s and early 2000s and shat it all away.
So?
This was back before we hated them. But I digress.
The voice actors in the show include Lawrence Bovard as Robotboy, Lola, Debbie, and pretty much half the cast, Lorraine Pilkington as Tommy, Rupert Degas as Gus, Constantine, Donnie, and about a third of the cast, Louis McLeod as Dwight, and another third, Eiji Kusuhara as Dr. Kamikaze, and Togo Igawa as Professor Moshimo. Despite the fact that most of the show's characters are voiced by British actors and actresses, they have American accents.
You're kidding.
Nope, I'm serious. Wikipedia says so. Plus, it doesn't help that most of the series takes place in San Francisco.
Well, I can believe that. I mean, after all, Teresa Gallagher does a damn good American accent as Nicole Waterson.
True.
And speaking of characters, this show is not short of them, so get out your bag of Haribo because there's a lot to get through. There's the title character Robotboy, Mishimo's latest invention, a robot who has 3 modes: deactivated, which makes him look like a toy, activated, which speaks for itself, and super activation, which comes with weapons including lasers, which was mainly used for self-defense and when defending his friends.
Robotboy is superior to other robots since he has human emotions. He loves learning new things about real boys, having fun and playing with his friends Tommy, Lola, and Gus like any real boy. In fact, his dream is to become a real boy himself.
So, how was your new bed? Hey, it's good, nice, deactivated. want to do? Think I stay in bed for a while. Take day off. Gee.
Similar to Pinocchio, except he's a robot instead of a puppet.
I'm not a puppet. I'm a real boy.
Sure you are.
His best friend is 10-year-old Tommy Turnbull, Moshimo's biggest fan and mentor to Robotboy. He is smart, responsible, sensitive, and likable. He tries to teach Robotboy the ways of the world through his eyes.
Tommy, why Mom do hip hop? I don't know. Adults like to pay lots of money to learn to look like a fool.
He's the son of Debbie Turnbull,
AKA one of the hottest mums in cartoon history.
and Dwight Turnbull,
AKA worst dad of the year.
and the little brother of Donnie Turnbull.
AKA worst fucking brother ever.
What the heck are you doing?
Not pointing out the family's flaws, of course. Except Debbie, since she has no flaws.
But wouldn't it make more sense to do that when actually talking about them?
Yeah, usually, but on a time schedule.
Fair enough.
Lola Mabula, Tommy's unofficial girlfriend and the daughter of a wealthy African ambassador. So basically, she's absolutely minted.
Minted?
Rich.
Oh.
She is confident and smart, can fly jet planes and control speedboats despite her age. Wow, she's like the MacGyver of this town. And is secretly in love with Tommy, but would be devastated if he ever found out.
Why?
No idea, they never explain it. Anyway, Lola is what I like to call the brains of the group, as she thinks before acting, whereas Tommy just goes right in there and Gus is, well, stupid. She's also the one who hits Gus when he's asking for it.
Please note that these descriptions of the character do not reflect my views on the actual character. Gus, aka G-Man, is Tommy's overweight, rude, and self-centered best friend. Despite coming from an Amish family, Gus is obsessed with food and video games. Usually, it is his selfish nature that gets everyone into situations caused by kamikaze.
So, he's a complete fuck-up then.
Well, when you put it that way, it makes him sound like a terrible person. But yeah, there's one way to describe him. He has many similarities to Eric Cartman from adult cartoon South Park, including a similar voice and being fat. However, he doesn't get his way like Cartman does.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Professor Mishima, voiced by Togo Igawa.
Oh my gosh! You mean Hiro from Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, Kakuro Ozu from The Head Is On, The Hedgehog, and Mr. Yoshida from The Amazing World of Gumball?
That's right, my dear.
He was also Johnny English's Tibetan guru in Johnny English Reborn, and Dr. Tanizaki, cybernetics expert from the Torchwood episode Cyberwoman.
I didn't know he was in the Doctor Who spin-off.
Well, he did die during being upgraded into a Cyberman after the first 10 minutes of the episode.
Oh my gosh! That's horrible!
Well, what do you expect for a show that's rated 15?
Anyway, Mishima is the creator of Robotboy. He gave his creation to Tommy after receiving a fan letter from his biggest fan. He sent Robotboy to young Turnbull to protect him from his rival, Dr. Kamikaze, and to teach him how to be a real boy. He also has a beautiful fiancée named Mew Mew.
Other characters include Tommy's mom Debbie, an average woman beauty-wise and housewife, his dad Dwight, an assertive man who never thinks things through and is seen to have done something terribly wrong, and his older brother Donnie, a constant bully to every child in the neighborhood, including Gus and Tommy himself. Despite this, Tommy still treats him as family.
Seriously? If I was Tommy, I'd have disowned that prick in half a second.
There are the many villains and evildoers who constantly try to steal Robotboy from Tommy for their own evil purposes.
Wait a minute!
What?
You forgot the one character that most people overlook when it comes to Robotboy.
Oh really? Who?
Robot Girl, of course.
Robot Girl?
Yeah, she's the female version of Robotboy, where she shares certain physical traits, ears, size, head shape, etc., except she also wears a pink bow and a pink skirt and has eyelashes to look more feminine. Robot Girl is playful, curious, kind and cheerful. She's known to like to play games with her friends, such as tag. Unlike Robot Boy, Robot Girl can do certain things that Robot Boy cannot, such as think with her emotions. Even though she only appeared in 2 episodes of the show, she became a fan favourite among many, including myself.
How can a character that only has 2 appearances leave such a huge impact?
Honestly, I have no idea. But on YouTube, the views for her very first episodes are through the roof compared to the other episodes. Look.
Wow! Over 6 million views? That's awesome!
Well, by the time we finish this review, it might go up to 7 million views.
After meeting Robotboy for the first time, she takes an immediate liking to him, and they become good friends as Robotboy teaches her everything he knows from Mishima.
Hello. You. We have fun playing now. Yes, please.
There have even been some fan works of them together romantically.
Wait a minute. Since Mishima created them both, wouldn't that technically make them siblings?
Practically, but Mishima invented her as a friend to keep Robotboy company when Tommy went on holiday with his family. So it's kind of the same logic behind Stitch and Angel being boyfriend and girlfriend despite being created by the same guy.
Fair enough. Anyway, there are the many villains and evildoers who are always trying to steal Robotboy for their evil purposes.
But the main villain of the show is the evil Dr. Kamikaze, voiced by the late Eiji Kusuhara, a criminal genius whose plan is to capture Robotboy and use him to help Kamikaze achieve his lifelong dream of, you guessed it, take over the world.
Of course!
He is very small but very diabolical and very dim-witted at times.
Kinda like those classic cartoon villains you see in old cartoon shows from the 80s and 90s.
You think you can capture Robotboy with this? What do you expect to do? Suffocate him with fumes? Incapacitate him with laughter? Now go, make me tapas!
He has a lust for power, a short temper, and always blames his minion Constantine for his failed attempts to capture Robotboy.
Constantine, I blame you!
One of the running gags with Kamikaze is the fact that he has had many pets, ranging from snakes to cats who usually always hurt him.
How about Mr. Snakey? Did the scary monsters try to my lips?
I know how you feel, man. I once had a Koopa Trooper that treated me badly too. So, Mr. Turtle, would you like a snack?
No.
So, is that a yes or no?
Oh.
I just want to know if you want some food!
I also think it's awesome that they got Japanese actors Togo and Ijiji to voice Mishima and Kamikaze, as it adds realism to the characters and their homelands, similar to Hero from Thomas and Friends, Le Frog from Flushed Away, and many more.
How is a happy, non-fighting robot going to help you take over the world? Hmm? Why do you always have to burst my bubble? I finally have Robotboy, and you can't let me enjoy it for 1 minute, can you? I have prevailed. I have captured Robotboy. Fight! Curse you!
Boss, I wouldn't do that if I were...
Oh, sweet mother of invention, that heart!
Among the many clones he's created, his harebrained schemes are always joined by his henchman, Constantine, a giant of a man who has a high level of physical strength, skilled in sumo wrestling, and is just the nicest guy you could ever meet.
Seriously, you could just have a conversation with him and he wouldn't come across as the kind of guy who was cut out to be evil.
You remember what the dentist said about candy?
Ah, there you are!
I'm sorry for your love. How about I break you a thigh? I forgot the autopilot. I fucking airhead.
If only more henchmen were like him. He spent his early years in an orphanage until he was adopted and raised by Kamikaze. Unlike Kamikaze, he is generally not at all an evil person, and has shown himself to be very caring towards other people and animals as well. He is also somewhat friendly towards Tommy and his friends at times, despite them being enemies. He also is a dedicated chef at times, whenever he cooks for Kamikaze, especially tapas and other Spanish-based foods.
You know, sometimes I think the main reason that Kamikaze keeps Constantine around is because of his great cooking.
It sure looks that way.
There are many other villains that are around to ruin Robotboy's fun, such as Bjorn Bjornsson and his robot Bjornbot, a 10-year-old asshole who wants to destroy Robotboy so that his robot can be the best in the world. General Yakitori, half man, half robot, who has a rivalry with Kamikaze for the best evil genius. Special Agent, aka Kurt's dad, a secret agent obsessed with proving Robotboy's existence to the government.
Klaus van Offenkugel and his monkey boy Ludwig, a wealthy man with a fragile body who wants Robotboy's parts to become strong to get revenge on those who mocked him during his childhood.
It's even been proven in one episode where the characters get stuck in a roadblock that Avenkugo and Kamikaze have a rivalry with each other.
Avenkugo, you are not invited to our celebration.
Yeah, so no cookies for you, or your big smelly monkey boy.
It is I who will be celebrating as soon as you kindly hand over the robot.
Man, is there any villain on this show that doesn't know each other?
Oh.
Vance Cosgrove, a crazy journalist who believes in supernatural things and aliens. The running gag with him is the fact that everyone calls him crazy.
Thelonious Hetz, a magician who is honestly the least exciting villain on the show. But I will say this, having a villain who isn't after Robotboy was a fresh change when Hetz was introduced. Seriously, all he wants is revenge on Gus for making a fool out of him and heckling him during a magic show. It's kind of like Maleficent's motivation. All Gus does is heckle him during a magic show, but the cartoonish sense he'll go to just to get revenge are pretty fun to watch.
There are of course other villains who don't leave much of an impact compared to all the others, including Brainiac, a super genius yak who wants revenge on Moshimo for turning him into a freak, Kurt, the typical school bully, Principal Culpepper, the school principal who takes her students' toys and keeps them for herself because she never got to play with toys during her childhood, and a bunch of other forgettable villains.
And of course there's Protoboy, Mishimo's first prototype robot with the same abilities as Robotboy and Robotgirl, but lacks their humanity. He was kidnapped by a young Dr. Kamikaze and turned evil. So evil that not even Kamikaze could control him. His first appearance in Season 1 was meant to be his only appearance since he was blown up and you don't come back from the dead. But in Season 4 he came back for 3 episodes, which was a fucking stupid idea.
Why do you say that, Dalek44?
Well, you know how Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Kenny, to name a few, were killed off and then resurrected multiple times with no explanation?
Yeah?
The same thing applies to Protoboy. He was destroyed in his first appearance and was never seen again until they randomly decided to bring him back in the final season of the show. And this makes no sense because he's a freaking robot. When you're a robot, you only come back from the dead if someone rebuilds you. But Protoboy came back 3 times, just because. Yep, after being blown up twice, had his cables removed from his chest, and fallen into lava before an abandoned factory explosion, the little fucker just wouldn't die.
I see your point. I mean, if they're gonna bring back a deceased character, the least they could do is provide an explanation of how he comes back. Some of the writers must have really wanted to use him again or something.
That was the logic I arrived at as well.
The animation of Robotboy is what I'm guessing is hand-drawn with a mix of CGI every now and then, similar to Star Wars The Clone Wars. Not that one. There you go. I say it's hand-drawn because it looks too good to be done with Adobe Flash or other computer systems some animated shows such as My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Teen Titans Go, The Amazing World of Gumball, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and many more use. While most of those shows are good, I have to admit, the animation isn't top-notch compared to classic hand-drawn cartoons. The movements for the characters seem to be limited to whatever the system is capable of doing and lacks the charm that hand-drawn animation has. In this show, the characters' movements seem natural.
The animation is quite interesting. The character designs remind me of classic anime a la Astro Boy, only a lot more colorful. The soft blues and whites in Tommy's home show the purity of Tommy's heart, while the harsher reds and black of Dr. Kamikaze's volcanic lair reflects his wicked rage. I quite enjoy a lot of the characters, because they're so well written and their actors give their all in bringing their characters to life. Honestly, I had a bit of trouble liking Gus at first. But as I revisited the episodes, I'm slowly learning to like him, and I do respect others' opinions on him. Characters I really enjoy are Robotboy himself, Tommy, Lola, Debbie, and especially Professor Moshimo and his fiancée Mew Mew.
My favourite characters from the show are Robotboy because I love how he wants to be a real boy one day and loves learning new things about real boys. And he's so adorable that you just want to give him a hug. I also love Robotgirl because of her playfulness and adorableness, and I find it a damn shame that she was only in 2 episodes. They could have written an episode where Mishimo lets her live with Lola to learn how to be a real girl. Hell, she could have even been given her own show. Kamikaze will always be one of my favourite villains in the show, as well as one of my favourite Cartoon Network villains. It's just so amusing to watch the Mad Doctor come up with new schemes to catch Robotboy and rule the world, and watch him fail. I also really love the banter between him and Constantine. That too is hilarious.
Constantine, water.
Boss, I'd be happier if you'd have some milk. No, thank you would suffice.
So in conclusion, Robot Boy is without a doubt one of Cartoon Network's best shows from the end of the channel's golden age. It had fun characters, entertaining stories, and it's a ton of fun to watch.
I thought the show was really interesting when I first saw it, and I find it just as enjoyable when I revisit it. I do like some of Cartoon Network's new cartoons like Steven Universe and Unikitty, and a lot of the more classic shows like Dexter's Laboratory and Powerpuff Girls. But Robot Boy, along with Conan and Kids Next Door, were some of my favorite Cartoon Network shows in the middle of grade section. Well, I must say it's been fun reviewing with you again after so long, Dalek44.
I'm glad you could stick around for this, Blake. We hope you all enjoyed our review of Robot Boy. So go off, have a good time, and most importantly, don't watch any of Cartoon Network's shit shows from today.
And more importantly, avoid the Powerpuff Girls reboot and rewatch the original. I'm BorisFangirl, and it's been a blast.
Indeed it has, love. I'm Dalek44, and I'll see you next time.
By the way, what are you gonna do with your cybermats?
Oh, I found some uses for little Bitey.